Greetings and welcome to Ralph Reads, brought to you by TURN, the United Ronin Networks. My name is Ralph Anthony Garcia, also known as R4, the legal, the loyal, the regal, the royal Ronin Ralph, your master of ceremonies. I would like to take this moment to tell you folks thank you for joining me on Ralph Reads, and to please tell a friend to like, share, comment, and subscribe to TURN, the United Ronin Networks. We are Ronin. Today on Ralph Reads, I continue with the best-selling debut of one of the greatest visionaries I ever had the pleasure of reading, Sister Souljah's The Coldest Winter Ever. So sit back with some six-packs, mixed snacks, quick, fast, and let the reading commence. Chapter 12.
Two big cemented roaring lions sat on opposite sides of the cement steps leading to the place. The door was made of solid thick glass, framed by maple wood with all kinds of carvings. Behind the solid glass was a black designer gate, an expensive and fancy way to say, "Keep the hell out." The building was one of Harlem's Sugar Hill brownstones with 5 floors. What really caught my eye was the money green Mercedes-Benz illegally parked in front. A little black ugly girl answered the huge door. It was so wide and heavy that it opened slowly. "How are you, Rashida?" the miniature lady asked. Once inside the door, we were faced with another door, lighter in weight, that the girl swung right open. Parquet floors with colored designs. I caught my breath and reminded myself that months ago I lived in a place 3 times fatter than this, so no need to get excited. While the troll interrogated, "Rashida, did you let Souljah know you were coming today?" I checked the next spacious room behind 2 more open wooden doors, which revealed a winding staircase leading to the 2nd floor. Now, art, I don't follow that shit, but there was enough paintings on the wall. Of what? Don't ask me. African titties everywhere and wooden mask carvings. There were big pictures with big frames. The kind I hated. That was supposed to be a portrait of a person. To me, the person was painted to seem alive, but almost always looked dead. No, I didn't tell Souljah I was coming, but I know it's not a problem because she told me if I ever needed. The short girl disappeared into the darkened huge room before Rashida could even finish. From what I could hear, she was talking on the phone for 3 seconds. She came out and said, "You can go up, Rashida." It was like walking through a museum. There were huge ivory tusks that had to be straight off an elephant, carefully placed in the sitting room with huge windows, chess pieces, marble tables, statues, heavyweight curtains, and plants everywhere. The plants were like decorations, as the designer or whoever hooked this place up had them draped over each window and outlining the walls at the top near the ceilings, then cascading down to the floor. On the 3rd floor were doors closed tightly as though something top secret was done in there. Each corridor on every floor was elegant with marble stools for sitting and plant holders with more plants. By the time I reached the top floor, I calculated 27 hours since I had slept. My heart was racing out of the normal rhythm. Now what was bugged about the 5th floor was it was huge and clean, with tall windows and beautiful wooden floors like the rest of the house. But it was as if the designer decorated the whole place, got to the 5th floor, and just quit. "This is it," Rashida said. "This is where Souljah is." She knocked lightly on the half-open door and pushed her way in like she lived there. "You can sit there." She directed me to a basic wooden chair near a small table. Rashida exited the room where I was seated. She walked through a small kitchen, the 4th one I had seen in this house, and into another room. I watched everything as Rashida began to talk to someone who was concealed behind the half-open door. Souljah, I have a sister out here who's a good friend of mine, and that's all I heard because Rashida stepped into the room and closed the door. She probably purposely lowered her voice so I couldn't hear her begging. She better not be begging. The room I was waiting in was like a library. There were 2 wide and towering sets of books that went from the floor to the ceiling. There must have been at least 1,000 books on those shelves, big, small, every color, old, new, hard, and soft. Some of the books had papers hanging out of them. One shelf had magazines and newspapers only. The windows in this room had no curtains, even though the people in the brownstones across the street could look right in. How did I know? Because that's what I was doing, standing in the window looking in their house, but their windows had curtains. The kitchen was clean, but nothing was in it. Curiosity made me open the refrigerator just enough to look in. Water, salsa, and ginger ale. That's it. I heard a slight movement and closed the refrigerator door real quick. Souljah was taller than I thought, about 5'6". She had big brown eyes, long lashes, and chubby-type cheeks. Her hair was shining like it just got done. It was a flat twist style, kind of original. She was a typical uptown girl, big ass, wide hips, and nope, not a flat belly. She still needed to do those sit-ups. Nothing to say about her clothes, blue jeans, white shirt, and, wait a minute, a pair of skips? Nondescript sneakers skips, like she was from one of the Long Island flea market towns. No, she didn't, I thought to myself. The thing that stood out most about her were those eyes. She was staring right into me. She didn't try to hide it, or even look away when I looked at her. I wasn't gonna stare back at her, 'cause what was all this about anyway? She walked over toward me. As far as I'm concerned, she was standing way too close in my face. You know, people need personal space. You're not supposed to tell them that. They're just supposed to know. First thing she said after long, uncomfortable moments of saying nothing was, "You are so pretty." I turned my head to look behind me, but I knew she was talking to me. What was I supposed to say in response to that? "Where are you from?" "Long Island." It just dropped out of my mouth. Less is better. I wasn't going to tell her all my business. There's no telling what Rashida had already told her, but I would fix that. "No, I meant what country." "What?" I said, thinking to myself, what the hell is she talking about? We all come from right motherfucking here. "No, I was thinking maybe your family is from Panama or Trinidad or one of the islands maybe." I gave her a one-word response. "Nah." Then I continued to push for what I wanted. "Rashida said that you know my cousin, Midnight." "Yeah," she answered with one word. "Listen," I said, "I don't know what Rashida has told you. She doesn't know me very well." Rashida rolled, then cut her eyes at me. "Anyway, you know how family moves around a lot. I grew up with Midnight. After he was about 16, we just lost track of one another. My mom doesn't have long to live. I'd like Midnight to see her before she dies. He would hate himself if she died without him being able to say a few words. We were close like that. Well, anyway, Rashida mentioned that you know my cousin. She said you'd probably be able to give me his phone number or address." "I'm sorry to hear about your mom's. Midnight calls me every now and then, like maybe once a month, but I don't call him or have his number." "How about an address?" I pushed. "No, not even that," she said, smiling politely. "Rashida said you need a place to stay," she asked, still looking into my eyes. "But my dad taught me how to have a poker face, so I put one on." "No, not really," I answered her. Rashida exhaled, threw her hand up and said, "Winter!" "Winter," Souljah repeated. "That's a different kind of name." "See, that's what I was telling you. My friends call me Sasha, but Rashida wouldn't know that." "So, Sasha, you're not having any trouble like Rashida said?" Souljah asked, her eyes leaving my eyes and landing on my bedroom slippers. "It ain't nothing. Just some jealous girls at the place where I stay. They don't matter though, 'cause in 2 months I'll be 18 and then I can get my own place." After a pause, Souljah said, "The only problem is that in New York, beef between young sisters living in the same space can end up so many different ways. It could be a small thing, or it could be murder. Jealousy is a dangerous emotion. Jealous people are usually so intensely dissatisfied with themselves that they have a burning desire to destroy anyone who has something they want but feel they can't have. You can stay here if you want. You don't look like the type to stay too long, but since you are family with Midnight, I don't mind letting you stay until he calls. Then you two can hook up and take it from there. I liked the way she put it, so I agreed to stay. Rashida just said things all wrong all the time. She acted like she had one of those red flashing ambulance lights right over her head. She was always too eager. We went to the bedroom where I would stay. The place was real plain, but there was a big mirror and 2 comfortable-looking beds. My sister Lauren stays in that bed, Souljah said, pointing to the right side of the room. Watch out for her. She's a trickster. She should be home now, but she's not, whatever. Those were the last words I heard because I lay on the available bed in my clothes and 27 hours of sleeplessness kicked in. Around midnight, my eyes reopened. For 3 brief seconds, I tried to figure out where I was. It was the pink slippers on my feet that shook my memory into place. The quiet argument going on outside my door got my blood going, and I listened in. I thought I told you if you were going to go out and stay overnight, you should call me. I didn't know I was going to stay out, the unfamiliar voice shot back. How does someone not know they're going to stay out for 2 nights in a row? Now you explain that. I don't really want to explain nothing. I just want to get some sleep. What you need to do is have some respect. You're not my mother. You're my sister. It doesn't matter that I'm not your mother. I'm your sister. I'm the oldest, and I take care of you. That's enough reason for you to give me your respect. The door to the bedroom swung open. I jumped to sit up. She clicked the light on. I could tell she was surprised to see someone in the room by the look on her face. She closed the door back immediately. Who's that in my room? Or should I even bother to ask? Her name is Sasha. She'll be staying for a while. Well, what's the deal? What deal? The 411. Nothing. She's cool. She's Midnight's cousin. Ooh, the sister said while I was there wondering what all that meant. Tall and slim, the sister who was named Lauren looked like a brown china doll. She was the model-looking type of girl. I couldn't call her a fashion model because she had no fashion. She had nice hair, but with too much gel in it. She had cheap shoes, which I figured runs in her family. Knockoff earrings, and a little Joyce Leslie Sears Learners type outfit. I always said it don't mean shit if you don't know what to do with it. She came and introduced herself. Her eyes bounced around the room while she talked. I guess she was checking to see if I messed with any of her shit. So what you in for? Lauren asked. What? What's your problem? Everybody who stays with Souljah got some kind of problem. That's the only kind of people she likes. Then what's your problem? I asked her. My problem is that I'm related. And of course, my problem is like everybody else's problem. Cash flow. I work for Souljah, answering the phone when I'm here. A soft knock at the door and then a push. Sasha, Souljah said, my sister Lauren can tell you the house rules. She knows them, even though sometimes she doesn't follow them. Tomorrow we can arrange to pick up your clothes. No, that's all right. I'm gonna go shopping for some things tomorrow. Oh, you do have money? Souljah asked. A little something, I said, smiling. Yeah, that's right. I ain't no charity case. I got my own loot, I was thinking to myself. A loud bell chimed through the house. Could you get that? Souljah asked, calling from the bathroom across the hall from our room. The shower was running. Lauren, can you get the door for me? She asked again. Are you going out? Lauren yelled back into the bathroom. Yeah, Souljah said. I watched as Lauren laid down on her bed. Sasha, can you get the door, please? I'm tired. I knew her type. Everything was a test. I'd play her little game for a minute. When I got downstairs finally, I pulled back the curtains on the lightweight door. I couldn't see the face 'cause the porch light was off, but the street light off to the side lit up the red Range Rover double parked on the side of the money green Benz. The rims on this Rover were so hot, I wanted to fuck the Jeep.
Are you gonna let me in or what?
Now I stood face to face with GS, one of the top hip-hop artists in the music industry. With 1 2-carat diamond in his ear, my mouth hung open. Now there's not much shit that could surprise me, but right now I was stuck guarding the entrance door. Shocked, I could not move. I had seen all of the top artists in concert, even GS. Nobody could have convinced me that we would ever be standing one-on-one in the same house.
Souljah here.
The Guess jeans and fresh out of the Nike box kicks looked good, but meant very little once I peeped the gold Rolex with the diamond bezel face. Now honey just stepped over me like I was a roach. Or maybe he confused me with the maid. I watched his 6-foot frame as it disappeared up the stairs. With my mouth wide open and my hands on my waist, you might have seen steam coming out of my ears had you been there. I checked how I just got played out in an expensive but 2-day dirty outfit and slippers. They knew who was at the door and they didn't even warn me. Hell, everybody know how much first impressions mean. I didn't even take a minute to brush my hair. It was right there that I realized how vexed I was that the bitches in the House of Success had raided my trunk. I was so happy that I had escaped with my loot and jewels that I wasn't focused on the clothes. But now I stood there calculating the costs. Leaning against the second door, I outlined the shopping I would have to do in my head. It was obvious that there's money in this house, I thought to myself. I wasn't sure how I would get a piece of Souljah's hustle. I was sure that I would. I knew she had to be some kind of con artist. Where did she get the money for this house, the Benz, and all that? Bigger question. Why would GS go out with someone like her? A girl who rocks skips and just wasn't fly. The answer must be because he hasn't weighed his options. Someone like Souljah had access. She must have used those charity concerts to get in good with the stars. Well, now I have access. Staying here wouldn't be as bad as I thought. But like Souljah said, I wouldn't be here long. I passed a happy couple on their way downstairs. She said, "Peace." I mumbled something back. Then I had to double right back and lock the door as they left. "So are you ready to hear the house rules?" Lauren asked, laying on the bed smoking a cigarette. "Yeah, give it to me," I said unenthusiastically. "First rule is no smoking." She started to laugh. "Souljah's allergic to cigarettes. Plus, she hates them. So I do it when she leaves, with the window open, as you can see. She won't be back for a few hours. I'll spray this stuff," she said, squirting cherry aroma household spray. "Now when she gets back, she'll still ask me if I was smoking a cigarette, even though the bedroom door is closed, the window open, and I sprayed this shit. Second rule is, you can never stay in this house when no one else is home. You'll either have to go out and do your own thing, come with me, or leave out with Souljah. Oh, and you can't have a key. Those are Doc's rules." "Who's Doc?" "She's the doctor who owns this house. She runs her medical practice on the first floor. You probably didn't notice it because her office has a separate lobby and a separate entrance. She has a lot of expensive stuff, equipment and all that, so she's real strict about the key situation. I have one," she said, shaking her small set of keys. "Next rule, you can't bring nobody to this house. The only strangers who are allowed in are the patients who come in the side door and Souljah students on Thursday and Sunday nights. Now the men's group meets on Thursday nights. It's for men only. We can't even stay back here in our room." "What about Souljah? Where does she go?" "She's the teacher. She stays with the men. The women's group is Sunday night. Souljah will want you to attend the womanhood meetings." I couldn't help but roll my eyes. Lauren was calm. She just said, "Yeah, I know, right? Well, she won't force you into a meeting, but she expects anyone she's dealing with to at least give it a try. They ain't that bad. I go just for the laughs. As far as food goes, this is the deal. I don't cook. Blimpies is right on the corner. Pizza, McDonald's, and this is good Jamaican spot on the Ave. Souljah cooks good, but she's always on a diet. When there's food here, you can eat it. Souljah will share almost everything. Other than that, just expect her to try to get your life together whether you like it or want to or not. Don't try to stop her. It's in her blood. Now the benefits is the reason I bother at all. Soljah's VIP, she gets invited to everything. Concerts, parties, dinners. She knows everybody. The thing is, unless she has a special reason, she really doesn't go. So we get to use the invites and meet everybody who's anybody. Like GS, I had to throw in. Yeah, he a fine ass, ain't he? That was him at the door, I said, hoping she would throw in some more information since she had already been so helpful. Yeah, I figured it was him, Lauren said casually. Them two is weird. I started laughing. Somehow or another, I was excited. Even though I appeared to be cool on the outside, the energy was just shooting every which way in my body. My mind was like a tape recorder, catching every word. I had always went to all the big shows, read the magazines, grown up on hip-hop, but I had never been on the inside. As I really thought about it, on the inside is where I needed to be. And if these people didn't know how to take advantage of an opportunity, it would be their loss because I didn't intend to miss a beat. What's so weird about them? I tried to seem half interested. Now figure, that dude can get any girl he wants. He comes here a few times a week, talks to Souljah for hours. 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, you get up to go to the bathroom, them two is laughing, talking, and whatnot. Picks her up and takes her out. On her birthday, he was in here cooking for her. You lying! I blurted out. No, seriously, he'll do anything for her. But... She stopped talking. But what? I pushed, revealing my desire to know. She ain't fucked him. She's not even her man or nothing. You're killing me, I said. Killing you? It's killing me! Well, what's the deal? I asked. Lauren said, he's not gay. I know girls he fucked before, but check out his man like Souljah. He caught beef with his man for liking her, but she ain't his girl. Ain't giving him no pussy, nothing. Maybe she's lying to you about it, I told her. Nah, if there's one thing I know, it's my sister. She had a few bad relationships in the past. Now her legs is crazy glued shut. Funny thing is, she got more niggas coming and calling since she stopped fucking. Now you go figure. One thing she said made my mind wander. It was a statement about past bad relationships. I wondered if Midnight was one of them. I wanted to ask, but I knew it was too soon to seem so interested. I figured I wouldn't have to be that nosy to put this puzzle together. The way her sister just volunteered information, it would only be a short time until I could see the whole picture. Me and Lauren just clicked. The way she was, just cool like that, I knew we would kick it together. Back in the Benz, things couldn't have been better. Doc drove us to go shopping. She was the first black female doctor I have ever seen up close. Everything she had was high quality. She looked young, acted young, and didn't even get snobby about being a brain surgeon. When we'd get into a store, she whipped out her gold card. When her wallet flipped open, I peeped she had platinum cards, Diners Club, the works. She was picking clothes and accessories for herself out of the top-line designer sections of the store. There were items only a professional shopper like myself would have the eye to select. When I seen how she just run everything on the card, I thought to myself, it's like she's not even paying money for it. I needed one of those plastic cards so I could walk out of the store with bundles of stuff in my hands. I grabbed every credit application in sight. While me and Doc shopped, Souljah would lean on anything and read her book. Her sister Lauren was playing me so close, it was annoying. I could tell she was a sponge, just trying to soak up my flavor. She watched what clothes I selected, even stuff I just picked up, looked at, and placed back on the rack. When I put something down, she would pick it up. Her eyes would be bulging as she looked at the price tag. I never liked shopping with a couple $1,000s to spend while your partner had only $150. The person just keeps giving you the, buy me something look, and you know I ain't buying nobody shit. What was the icing on the cake was, I bought a red leather Coach bag. It was a perfect match for the red Range Rover I seen last night. After following me around the whole afternoon without buying nothing, Lauren went and bought the same exact bag I purchased. Shit like that is unforgivable. But I told myself, she's not a shopper. She's definitely no competition. So I checked what she did and let it go. Before I knew it, my hands were heavy with packages, but the yellow envelope taped to the bottom of the pocketbook was light. I only had $500 left to my name. Doc had challenged me to floss. I couldn't let her go on a shopping spree for herself with me sitting back looking like the pauper. Plus, if you have a Benz, you ought to be able to fill it with packages from Bloomingdale's, Saks Fifth Avenue, Nordstrom, and whatnot. It all fit into my plan anyway. I would reverse last night's scene of embarrassment with the messy clothes and slippers. GS would never catch me off guard again. The next time he ran into me, he wouldn't even know I was the same girl who answered the door. Dinner was crazy. Picture us all seated around a large table at Doc's on the 3rd floor. Boxes of Chinese food everywhere. Everyone's getting their grub on. Then the questions begin. First it was Doc. So, Sasha, where are you from? Now, they may think I'm dumb, but I remembered answering the same questions with Souljah yesterday, so I was prepared. I'm from the United States, I responded. They all laugh. No, Doc said, smiling. What city, state, borough? Oh, I'm from Long Island. Whereabouts? Way out. Almost the Hamptons. Oh, that's a nice area. I bought a house for my mother out there in Dix Hills. Souljah tells me your mom has cancer. I hope you don't mind me talking about it, she said, smiling innocently. Actually, I'd rather not talk about it. I was having a good day and I just don't like to think about it because it makes me sad. Then Souljah jumped in it. Oh no, it's just that Doc is excellent in medicine. There may be some way that she can help. A lot of times when people are sick, they keep going to the same doctor, getting the same diagnosis and remedies. Sometimes a second opinion could help. I just nodded my head, not wanting to encourage them to keep asking questions. Now, if it's the money you're worried about, Doc cut Souljah off. If she's from the Hamptons, I'm sure her family has a private physician and good care, she said. But Sasha's been living at the House of Success, where Rashida stays, so then I cut Souljah off. So I don't live in Long Island anymore because my mom's medical bills got so expensive that the family went through a lot of changes. And like I said, I really don't want to talk about it. You all don't have to worry about my mother. She has a doctor and a specialist. Me and Lauren decorated our room after dinner. She was inspired by the jokes I made about how plain and boring the room was compared to Doc's place. Now I let her lead on the designs cause I wasn't planning to stay. What we ended up with was 3 walls plastered with LL Cool J posters, him in every kind of hat ever made. Lauren had some kind of thing for LL, to say the least. She talked about him like she knew him personally. She admitted that she had never been introduced to him face to face, but was in the green room with him at one of her sister's concerts. Why didn't you go up to him? I asked. She said, Are you kidding me? I couldn't even move. I was in a state of shock. I knew he would be there. But there's a difference between knowing it in your head and then actually seeing the person. You know what I mean? She asked. I just shrugged my shoulders. Come on, she continued. When you answered the door last night and seen GS, tell me you didn't freak out for a minute and just lose your cool. Nope, I fronted. You're a liar, Sasha. She pushed me down and tickled me like I was 5. We both started laughing as she kept rephrasing the questions. Come on, Sasha, you know you felt a little electricity in your pussy. I kept denying it. I don't care if you don't admit it, cause I know you felt the same thing I felt. Seriously though, I asked her, do you want to get with him like that? Word up, Lauren said. I'd do anything to jump that nigga's bones. We cracked up. Lauren was crazy. We stayed up all night long talking. Do you have a man? I asked her. A man? I got a bunch of guys. Why? You want to meet somebody? She asked. Maybe, I told her. Well, she said, it depends on what you like. Let me take out my catalog. She whipped out a red leather phone book with some of the pages falling out. I'll start with the beginning, she said, opening her book to the first page. What do you like most of all? Like the most important thing? Money, I answered quickly. We laughed again. Lauren wrapped a towel around her head like she was a swami or gypsy or something. She turned the glass upside down like it was a crystal ball. I hollered, You're nuts! You're nuts! She pushed a sheet of paper over toward me. Write down what you want in a man in the order of importance. So I did. Money, cars, clothes, jewelry, apartment, masculinity, big dick, clean, white teeth, nice body. I slid the paper back to her. Shh, she said, holding a finger up to her lips, signaling for quiet. After a 30-second pause, she said, It seems as if we have a problem. What is it? I asked. We have 50 guys with big dicks and nice bodies. Nothing wrong with that, I joked. Yeah, but they're all broke, on foot, living with their mamas. We cracked up. Mid-afternoon, we woke up to Souljah's complaints. Lauren, get up! You're not taking care of business, as usual. Just because we're sisters doesn't mean you should take advantage. The man at the church is waiting for the contract and a check. You're supposed to be there at 11. Why didn't you wake me up? Lauren asked. Because that's not my responsibility. I was out early, taking care of what I'm supposed to take care of. Lauren sucked her teeth. Within minutes, she was tapping me. Hey, get up. You could either come with me or stay here with Souljah. What's up? That's not a choice, I said. I'm coming with you. $1,500 cash passed from Lauren's hand to the hands of the pastor. That's how much he was charging Souljah to rent the church. She was given a benefit for an organization that worked with AIDS patients. When I asked Lauren why it cost so much, she said, You know the deal. Business. Everybody wants something, even the church. What does Souljah get? I slid in the question since the opening was handed to me. Nothing, her sister said dryly. She has to get something, I pushed. You're right. She gets an audience. She gets to tell 2,000 people what's on her mind, what her deepest thoughts are, and what they should be doing with their lives. What else? That's it. That's what gets her off. But how does she pay her bills like that? I pressed. Look, she said, becoming annoyed. I hope you're not gonna be one of these people who takes up all of my time to ask me about Souljah. 'Cause I hate that shit. How does she pay her bills? People just give a shit. She's supposed to pay doc rent. She doesn't. She's just different. Don't try and figure her out. You only give yourself a headache. Within seconds, Lauren was back to her joking self again. Different had to be the word for it. Thursday night, about 30-something guys crammed into the large front of the apartment. There were some who seemed as young as 16. Some people seemed as old as 30. As promised, Lauren and I bounced as the last few filled through the door. Did you see that? I asked Lauren. Wall-to-wall niggas. It was like an ice cream store up in there. Mad crazy, all the flavors. Big, small, tall, short, bodies galore. I was bugging at the shock of it all. Lauren was blasé. Wait a minute, I asked her. Are any of them in your red book? She laughed. No, Souljah would kill me if I messed with her clients. Nah, her thing and my thing are separate. I wanted to know what Souljah was doing up there in the apartment with all those men. I wanted to understand it. I wanted to hear what she was saying. What was making them listen to her? What was the hustle? The technique? What could she tell a man as fine as Midnight that would keep him under her spell? Did she meet him at one of these meetings? I wanted to ask Lauren, but she warned me already. I didn't want to set her off. That might stop the flow of information completely. I'd wait a while and figure how to get at it another way. The men's meeting ended around 10. We were back in the house an hour later. I had a feeling GS was coming, so I got ready. First I showered, seated on the bed with a towel wrapped around my body and a towel wrapped around my hair. I twisted a paper towel. Carefully I rolled and weaved it in and out of each toe to prepare for the pedicure I'm about to give myself. Going somewhere? Lauren asked. Nah, this is just my routine. I like to keep myself nice. I hate the way old chipped nail polish looks on fingernails and toes. Lawrence glanced at her own fingers. She quickly tried to cover her 2 fingers with the chipped nail polish. Who was she fooling? I had noticed her nails days ago. She sat on her bed and proceeded to watch me. As I blocked her out, my hands worked feverishly to perfect the French pedicure. Damn, your hands are steady, Lauren said. If that would have been me, I would have never got the line straight. Then she did it. Can you do my feet next? Now the long pause between her question and my response should have been enough of an answer, but this chick seriously expected me to touch, clean, and design her crusty toenails. Funny thing, I could do my own, but I can't seem to do anybody else's, I told her. Well then do my hands. I'm sure you can figure out a way to do that, she said, being too pushy for my taste. So I did my toes, her hands, my hair. I shaved my underarms, trimmed my pussy hairs into a cute little design. Convincing Lauren that everything was regular, I tried on some of the outfits I purchased earlier this week. When all the stalling tactics were used up, I put on some short shorts and a baby tee with no bra. Flipping through Lauren's tape and CD collection, I picked out a mixtape. With each cut playing came a memory. Music just had that kind of power. I thought about all the fun I used to have in Brooklyn. I shivered just thinking about how all my friends just turned on me, one by one. And when DJ SNS slowed the beat down, the slow jams put me in a state. I started thinking about various sexual positions and how they made my body feel. Then the pressure came between my legs. It's crazy, I thought, how getting my hustle on had nearly wiped out my sex life. When Daddy was out, Daddy, everything was smooth and safe. He took care of everything. All of my energy could just go to do fun stuff. I was uptight, backed up, and definitely gonna get fucked, socked, and licked real soon. Lauren turned the music down. Sasha, can you get the door? I rolled my eyes like it was a problem. I didn't bother to turn the light switch for the staircase on. In the dark, I stepped swiftly and softly down the 5 flights of stairs. Loosening my top button on my Daisy Dukes, I let the zipper come down. The light wind that rushed through the door when I opened it made my nipples hard. They stuck out through my baby tee. My nipples might as well have been eyes, 'cause when that door opened, that's what GS looked at first.
Yeah, Souljah here.
Do you see me standing here? I asked him in a pushy but sexy way.
Well, damn, how could I say no to that question?
He asked with a sexy smile and white teeth. Well, why don't you ask me my name? I demanded. He stood there, his eyes falling down to my Ralph Lauren panties, which were discreetly exposed under my shorts.
Why don't you just tell me?
He said with that masculine force that gets me hot every time. When you come here next time, if there is a next time, you say, "What's up?" to Sasha. Then you can handle the rest of your business.
Is that right?
He asked, looking like he didn't mind joking around at all. As he stepped through the door, he asked,
What's up with the lights?
I'll show you up, I said, gently taking his hand, using one finger to run across the inside of his palm, 'cause I knew it would get him going. I walked in front of him, leading the way as if it was his first time in the house. When we got to the 3rd floor, I pulled his hand and placed it on my waist. His fingers gripped the naked skin in between the top of my shorts and the bottom of my baby t-shirt. On the last step, I dropped him like a hot potato, turned around and said flatly, I'll get Souljah for you. Wait right here. She came out with a big smile on her face. Happy to see him, I guessed. She noticed nothing. I went right into my room, shut the door, and sat down. Lauren looked at my titties, and in a half of 1 second she said, Yeah, I don't even have to ask who was at the door. We were awakened early the next morning, as Souljah stood in between me and Lauren's bed. I thought to myself, damn, is this bitch a crackhead vampire? She stays up all night. In the morning, you're looking at her like, do you ever go to sleep? I want you to come with me, get dressed. On a train, the destination was revealed. We were on our way to Rikers Island Women's Prison. What for? I asked. I have to speak to some young sisters behind bars. What are you going to tell them? I asked, really wanted to know. I don't know, she said. I move on a vibe. Whatever I feel when I see what I see is what I will say. Just like that, I asked. She nodded yes. In what was probably a bold move in their eyes, I asked, and how much does this speech pay? Somewhat surprised, she responded, nothing. When I speak at prisons, high schools, and community places, it don't cost anything. Well then, how do you make money? I pushed. Different ways. I do projects. Also, when I speak at colleges, they pay me well. How well? Very well. And all you gotta do is say what you feel? That sounds easy. How can I get down? It's not that simple. You have to be talking about something that is important to people in their lives. You have to study, read, watch, work, and interact with people. When you master a particular field, then your words, knowledge, and insight becomes valuable. You know what I mean? I indicated yes. Inside, I'm like, yeah, I know what you mean. You saying you can do it, but I can't. That's bullshit. I know more about what goes on in the street than she does. I know more about a lot of shit than she does. We didn't take the normal visitors route into Rikers. We went through the entrance the correction officers use. We were searched. Beads of sweat began to gather as I placed my purse on the conveyor belt. One of the officers took my box cutter, saying politely that I couldn't bring it inside. He was taking it to protect me from the prisoners.
"They can't be trusted,"
he said. It was bugging me out to see how they treated Souljah and us, her guests, versus how they treated you when you came to visit the prisoners. The officer who was leading the way began to introduce Souljah to all of the other officers. They were smiling, shaking hands, giving her props, and all that fake shit. The officer in charge says,
"The women who you are going to speak to are all HIV positive. They're in a separate wing of the prison."
For the first time since I met her, Souljah's face appeared to be uncomfortable. With her eyebrows screwed out of position, she questioned the officer. "Didn't you say I would be talking to adolescent women today?"
"Yes,"
he said.
"I did, and I have to apologize to you. I didn't get the proper paperwork to my superior officer in time. He wouldn't give me clearance for you to speak to the adolescent women today. I can arrange it for some later date, but believe me, sister, these women need to hear from you."
Now all of our eyeballs are bouncing around. I'm asking myself, Winter, what the fuck are you doing here involved in this mess? Souljah asked the officer, "Can I use the ladies' room first?" The officer said,
"Sure, right this way."
"Come on, y'all," she said, making it clear that we were to follow closely behind. In the bathroom, it was just us three. "Oh no," Souljah said, placing her two hands in her face. "I'm sorry, y'all. I didn't know we were going to the HIV wing." "Well, what's the matter?" Lauren asked. "Can we catch it or something?" "They say that you cannot catch it except through the blood or bodily fluids. But I never trust what they say anyway. I'm just surprised. I'm nervous." Souljah leaned against the sink, looking into the mirror. "I thought you worked with the AIDS people," I said. "I thought you was giving a benefit for people with AIDS." She smiled nervously and said, "Yes, I work with professional people who work with AIDS patients. And yes, I give money. But I never had to knowingly touch nobody with AIDS. I never had to be in a small room confined with them. I never had to see the effect of what the nasty disease does to a person's body. It's different. It's a different thing." Then she splashed water on her face, looked in the mirror and said, "I don't know what to say to them. This one will be left to God. I pray that I receive a message to give." She took a deep breath. Now, if you were one of those correction officers, you would never have guessed what went on in that bathroom. When we got back out into the hall, she stood confidently on her 2 feet as if she had never broken down in the toilet. When we entered the doors to the wing, we were standing in the middle of a huge room. The beds were narrow, thin, and very close together. There had to be about 100 beds. The first thought I had looking at these women was, this was a waste of time. These chicks are finished. Most of them were lying down on their beds doing nothing. Their bodies were thin and withered. Their faces were sunken in like many crackheads I had seen back in Brooklyn. Some of them had fresh bruises and stitches. Some of them had black eyes and blotches. Most of them had big, ugly plaited braids like dykes. They were in bad need of hygiene and a fashion rescue mission. When they saw Souljah, most of them had no reaction at all. In fact, it was the military voice of the man-built female CO that got them dragging their half-eaten bodies out of bed and into the room. Souljah stood, wringing her hands nervously and looking bewildered. I chuckled to myself. "Go ahead, smarty pants. Get yourself out of this one. Now you're on the front line." The women were quiet. Many of them looked disinterested. After all, they had no choice but to be there. They really were a quote-unquote captive audience. When Souljah didn't say anything, the CO in front of the room cleared her throat loudly and said, "Go ahead. They're all yours. Good luck." Souljah looked over their faces. For 2 whole minutes she said nothing. Then it came out. "I can tell that all of you used to be very pretty women. I can look at your faces and see that you once were somebody's sweetheart, somebody's love, somebody's life, and I know when you were younger, you thought being beautiful was the best thing in the world. But really, we women don't have to do anything to be beautiful. It's a gift from God, the woman is. Somewhere along the line, many of us as women are led to believe that being pretty is enough. And while we rely on that, we forget to strengthen our minds so that we can learn how to think, how to build, how to survive. We forget how to live our lives, to protect our spirit, to be clean and decent. We forget that everything we do matters so much. Every right decision brings us blessings. Every wrong decision brings us pain. And then, when times get hard, our struggle and our pain shows on our faces and our bodies. When people see our pain and weakness in our face, they say, "She used to be fine. She used to be this. She used to be that." When men feel our beauty has faded, we become shocked at how well they ignore us and forget us. We'll do anything to get their attention. Money, love, can I suck your dick? Can I do anything? Can I? When we hate ourselves, we destroy our bodies with alcohol, drugs, casual sex, and a bunch of stuff. Then we look at ourselves and hate ourselves even more. When I first came in here, I said, what will I say to these women? They are all dying. When I looked at your faces, I thought to myself, what have they done to themselves? But in spite of everything, your children love you. Your daughter needs you. Your sons miss you. We need you to live. We need you to want to live. What is a community without you, the mothers? What will a community of motherless children be like? Killers, haters, evil, negative, mad at the world, unable to love, hug, and live? Because they hate themselves. Because they needed you to teach them how to feel, how to love, how to just be. So when you look in the mirror, don't see death. See life. Don't be ugly. See beauty. It may not seem like it, but you are powerful. A change of mind, a change of spirit, and a change of actions can create a new you. You are needed. We need you to make the rest of your life mean something special. We need you to take good care of yourselves and each other. So those of us who love and need you can still have you back in our homes, our communities. Yes, there is much to live for. And when I looked up, everyone's eyes were filled with tears. Not mine. I hated her for making me think about my mother. I hated the way she thought she could get into everybody's personal business. I hated whatever it was in her that gave her the nerve to say out loud what everyone else thought, but had sense not to mention. She hugged those women. When she forgot to hug one, they would ask for a hug. She gave it to them. She shook their sweaty hands and stood still while the ones with many missing teeth accidentally spit in her face while attempting to express themselves. She gave out pamphlets, book lists, advice, and too many autographs. After what was way too long of a wait, we three went straight home. One by one, we took long hot showers right away.
Chapter 13.
The same evening, she called me into her bedroom. I had almost been staying here a week, yet I had never seen it. Now the bedroom is a place where a girl gets to say who she is. Just by the arrangement of things, you should be able to tell something about the girl that maybe you didn't know. Souljah's bed was round. It had a big circular base and a circular mattress on top. The sheets, blankets, and pillows were expensive. I took her to be freaky, even though that's not how she seemed. But why else would she have a round bed? She had to go out of her way to get it. It must have been a sizable investment. I'm sure she had to go to a catalog or some custom designer to order proper linen and all that. Plus, she took more pride in her bed than she did in her footwear. On the wall, there was a sketch of Souljah. It was accurate because you could tell right away that it was her. The eyes in the dark pencil sketch stood out because they looked even bigger than hers usually did. They were full of sadness. The artist even caught her earrings, big ones like most ghetto girls rock. "Do you like that picture?" she asked after I guess I had been looking at it too long. "Why do you look so sad?" I asked as if I cared. "Well, I was in Paris when that picture was drawn. It was my 21st birthday. I was happy to be traveling, learning, studying there, but I missed my friends and family." "You mean you missed your man?" I asked. She laughed a little. "Yeah, him too." "How old are you now?" I pushed that question in. "I'm 25. Damn, I thought. She looked younger than that. Lined against the floor were 3 big black file cabinets. They were completely out of place. If you're trying to set a mood, get your groove on, why have a banging bed and set it near a set of file cabinets? Next to the file cabinet was another bookcase filled with books and papers. "What's with all the books?" I asked her. "Well, the books in the living room are mostly the books I read in college. These books in here are the ones I have to read every day to keep up." "Keep up with what?" "With what's happening in our community. Our world, you know." "Seems to me if you live in your community, you already know what's happening. You don't need no book to tell you. Hell, I could tell you that." "Well, these books help you to understand why what is happening. Usually in life, the same things are happening over and over again, in cycles, you know. And if it's not a good cycle, you got to understand it in order to make it stop. But anyway, I called you so we could talk about what's happening with your life, what's happening with your education." "I was in school, but my family moved a couple of times, you know, that was that. So what are your plans?" "Plans? I don't know. Plans for what?" "What would you like to become?" "Rich." "How do you plan to get rich?" "I don't know right now, but I'm working on it." "I'm asking because I would like to help you do what you want to do. You're a pretty girl. I could tell you're very smart. You're quick on your feet. You seem very creative. Maybe that's the direction you want to go in." "Creative?" "Yes. I saw how you did Lauren's nails. And your own are so beautiful. Your clothes are always so well coordinated. Now that's a talent. Your hair looks as good, if not better, than I've seen any hairstylist around here do. That's a talent too. So you just need to decide what you want to do and then get started. Otherwise, time will pass you by. You'll look up 5 to 10 years later and you'll have nothing. So what do you think?" "Think about what?" "When are you going to the hospital to see your mother?" she asked, changing the topic. "Soon," I said, trying to keep it all brief. "Well, if you need a ride or anything, we can make a time and take you up there. What hospital is she in exactly?" "Long Island College Hospital," I shot out quickly. "In Brooklyn. It's easy for me to take the train. It's no problem." "All right," she said, exhaling like the conversation wasn't going her way. "There's a book I have that you can take a look at." She sat on her bed, pointing at the book lying on the file cabinet. It was a career guide. If you look through the book, you'll see 1,500 different careers. The good thing about it is, the book has a lot of ideas, jobs, and business suggestions that the average person might not even think of. Maybe you'll see something that interests you." "Thanks," I said, trying my best to seem like I was into what she was saying. "I go to a lot of colleges to speak. I wouldn't mind taking you to see them. College isn't for everybody, but sometimes just taking a trip to 1 or 2 of the nice ones will change the way you look at education, yourself, and the world." "Can I ask you a question? Why do you have change all over your floor?" Souljah looked at the quarters, dimes, nickels, and pennies she had thrown all over her floor. "I'm just sloppy and a little careless about some things." Well, sloppy was the right word. As I'm sizing everything up, I noticed she had more food in the bedroom than in the refrigerator. Half-eaten bags of barbecue chips and a can of onion dip with some of the dip stuck to the outside of the can. She had empty apple juice bottles and half-empty Evian waters. On top of that, she had an exercise bike in the room. Putting 2 and 2 together, I figured she eats a family-sized bag of barbecue chips with dip, feels guilty, jumps on the bike, and tries to burn it all off. "And why do you have file cabinets in your bedroom?" I asked, laughing now. "Oh, so maybe you need to be an interior decorator," she kidded me. "I'd hire you, 'cause I have no sense of all that. Seriously though, I get letters from a lot of people. I keep files on some of the people I work with. I write a lot. I keep copies of everything I mail out. Now, my room might not be in order, but I know every book on my shelf and would know right away if one was missing. I know where every piece of paper in this house is located. It may not seem like it, but there is an organized system to it. I guess it's just a matter of different things being important to different people. I had gotten her on the defense, and now was the perfect time to dip out of this boring little meeting. Here, talk to Boom. Lauren was passing me the phone as soon as I got back in our room. Boom who? You said you wanted to meet somebody.
Are you ugly?
The deep voice on the phone asked. Are you ugly? I shot back.
Nah, I'm just saying though. It don't make sense for me to drive up there if you ugly. For all I know, Lauren and Sarge could just be setting me up to give them a ride, and I ain't playing taxi all night, so just let a nigga know what you look like.
What you pushing?
Infinity.
Well, you come see for yourself, I challenged him.
Aight, but if you ugly, I'ma just pull off.
Whatever, nigga. My arms were folded into one another. I stood on the stoop outside the house with much attitude, waiting for Boom and Sarge to pick us up. Lauren was standing in the middle of the street. Lauren's nigga was called Sarge because he was in the army. He jumped out the passenger seat all excited and grabbed and squeezed Lauren up. The notorious Boom had 1 foot in the car, 1 foot in the ground, as he stood up halfway out of the car to check me out. He was light-skinned, with 2 big dimples in his cheeks and a cleft in his chin, a mad cutie with curly black hair. We smiled at the same time.
Aw, shit,
he said, throwing his hands in the air.
You fine. Come on, get in.
We checked an action flick. Don't ask me the title. It was mostly tonguing, filling each other up, and giving each other shotguns with Sarge's bag of weed. When we got tired of buttered popcorn and the real munchies kicked in, Boom said,
What's it gonna be? McDonald's or Uno's?
Uno's is better, I said quickly.
Uno's is pussy,
Boom said.
You gonna give me some pussy, or we going to McDonald's?
We all started laughing. A few mixed drinks, some pizza at Uno's, potato skins, and salad. We was all feeling good. I wasn't worried about shit. Boom's basement was damp and dark. The little lamp he had in the small matchbox house located in Queens didn't even light up the entire room. But I could see the mattress he had on the floor with no sheets. The room Lauren and Sarge went into was only a room because it was divided by a blanket hanging on a string. Before I put my pocketbook down next to me on the side of the mattress, I could hear Lauren and Sarge ripping off their clothes. The sound of Sarge's belt buckle clicking, the zipper noise, and their heavy breathing got me good and ready. Boom flicked off the dim light and it was pitch black. I like lights on, but there was no time for complaining. When Boom found my titties, he started rubbing my nipples between his fingers. At first my body got excited, but he rubbed them so long that they were burning. I turned onto my right side. I moved his hands off my titties saying, Suck 'em, suck 'em. He sucked them, but it was like he thought they were popsicles. He sucked them so hard. I pushed his head down further so he could eat my pussy. He licked all over my hairs before he could find the inside of me. I heard him trying to spit pussy hairs caught in his teeth out. When he found the inside of me, he was licking all the wrong places. He wasn't sucking my clitoris, which would have sent me over the top. Come on, baby, just fuck me, I said.
That's right,
he said, all gassed up on himself like he was doing something. A few pumps, maybe 8, and he was laid out all over my body, tired and finished. Nigga, what? I said.
Ah, girl, you know what?
He said all cocky like he had just busted me down. Was it in?
Don't even play yourself, girl,
he said all calm. Was that it? I crawled around the mattress looking for the little lamp. Finally, I fumbled, then found it. I clicked that switch real fast and flipped the lamp over like a flashlight, shining it on his dick. That little fucking worm? That's it? And you got the nerve to call yourself Boom? I yelled at him.
Ah, baby, you missed it. Shit was this big.
He held his fingers for a 10-inch stretch.
It's just cold in here, so you know, after I busted my nut, my shit just shriveled up.
By this time, Lauren and Sarge's naked bodies had rolled onto the floor. They laughed so hard that Sarge kicked his foot and the curtain wall fell down. Ah, nigga, I knew there had to be something wrong with your ass. Good hair, dimples, all that, and you just a little dick nigga. Take us home, I screamed on him. Lauren couldn't stop apologizing, but she couldn't stop laughing either. I decided I would choose all of my dates from here on. How I expected her to understand my desires, I don't know. On Sunday, the pressure was on for many reasons. First off, my stash was down to $375. It was the smallest amount of money I had in a long time. I was surrounded by a sense of panic. All I could think about was loot. Several times I caught myself pacing back and forth with various calculations racing through my head. As my pacing got faster and faster, I grew more and more angry. Every plan I would start to cook up would hit a dead end for one reason or another. With Souljah out of the house for the afternoon and Lauren, who woke up mad late in the shower, I began to walk all over the apartment. I looked at everything on the 5th floor. Believe it or not, there was nothing of value that I could see. Maybe the answer was on the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th floor. I pictured myself going to the pawn shop with an elephant tusk. I erased that thought. I knew Doc might have some jewelry down there in the apartment, or maybe even a strongbox or safe. Now the bottom line was I couldn't carry or crack a safe. It wasn't my line of work. But as my forehead broke out in a small sweat, I was willing to consider anything. Second cause of my tension today was the womanhood meeting. I was itching to bounce. The reality that I had no place to go was pissing me off because I'm not the dependent type. I would be forced to attend another boring event. Somehow I was hoping that I could make it work for me. The difficulty would be seeing Rashida again, who I was determined to avoid completely. "Let's go see Doc," I told Lauren. "Nah, you go. I gotta make some calls," she said. Perfect. I went down to strike up a conversation and to see what I could see. Doc was on the 1st floor. I heard her moving around behind the 2 wide wooden doors. Knocking softly, there was no response, so I knocked a little harder. "How you doing, Sasha?" she said in a pleasant voice, but looking distracted.
"I was a little bored. Curiosity led me down here to see you."
"Oh, really? What are we curious about?" she asked, like I was a preschooler.
"About what you do. I'm fascinated with the fact that you're a doctor,"
I said, speaking her language while gassing her up for my plan. "I didn't know you were interested in medicine."
"Yes, very."
I looked past her figure into her office. "Well, come on. Let me show you around." Now, all I had to say was I was interested in medicine. She showed me every slide under a microscope, every test tube, instrument, and even the tables her patients lie down on. She pointed out her charts on the wall, breath self-examinations, pregnancy information. She even asked me, "When is the last time you had a checkup?"
"I don't remember,"
I responded. "Well, that doesn't sound good," she said, looking as if she wanted to examine me or something. "Well, you know, once you become a young woman like yourself, you need to get regular exams and a pap smear every 6 months.
"Pap who?"
Pap smear. It's part of the vaginal examination. We check for any sexually transmitted diseases, cervical cancer, everything. Since your mom has cancer, you have to be extra careful." She pulled out a long steel tool. "It looks worse than it feels," she says. "This is a speculum. It is used in a gynecological exam."
"Don't point that thing at me,"
I joked as if it were a gun. "This is a serious matter, Sasha. Are you sexually active?" I knew the answer to that question would lead me into a trap, so I said,
"No, not yet."
The doctor raised an eyebrow and twisted up her face. She didn't want to call me a liar, but I could tell she didn't believe me either. She walked away as if she was insulted. Opening a small drawer, she pulled out a gang of condoms. "All right, even though you're not sexually active," she said sarcastically, "take these just in case something unexpected pops up."
"And if I wanted an exam, how much would it cost?"
"Do you have coverage?"
"Not right now. What will it run me?"
"Well, usually it would be $150, but since you are a house guest, I'll be willing to examine you at no charge. You pay the lab fees."
"I'll think about it,"
I said. "Don't wait too long," she said, with the serious concern I had grown to hate. Talking to Doc for half an hour had gotten me more useful information than 8 days with the upstairs duo. I had peeped the strong box where I was sure Doc kept her money. I had figured even on a bad day, she had at least 2 patients who each paid her $150 in cash. Depending upon what day she goes to the bank and whether or not she goes every week, there could be a minimum of $1,500 weekly or $3,000 every 2 weeks in that locked box. I would watch her carefully, get to know her. I wouldn't be satisfied until I was able to see what kind of treasure she had on each floor of this castle. After all, she pushed the bends. She paid the bills, so what was I wasting my time with the other two for? Right away, I understood why Lauren said she went to the womanhood meetings for the laughs. As a gazillion chicks with an assortment of bad taste filed into the big room on a Sunday night, I bugged at the whole scene. Girls with turbans on like they were straight out of the desert. Girls with ashy feet and ashy elbows. A bunch of fake jewelry, cheap shoes, and bald heads. I couldn't believe that these girls couldn't understand that the real problem was they had no style. How you gonna be a female with a head full of unkept nappy hair or fade like a man? Now, they didn't all look the same, but they all looked busted. Some of them were young, like 15. Some of them seemed as old as 35 or 40. I'm thinking if you're 40 years old, getting advice from a 25-year-old, you might as well hang it up. A wave of young girls came in 10 minutes later. They were regular block girls. What a combination. Everybody stood around eating cheese and crackers, celery sticks, carrots dip, and other types of rabbit food. When Souljah came out her room in the back, they all got quiet like she was Confucius or Kung Fu or something. When she sat down, they all sat down like dummies. I spotted Rashida's pitiful ass and bounced my eyes in another direction. Determined to get my attention, she picked her chair up and moved it to where I was, squeezing herself into a small space. "How's it going?" she asked, all overexcited. I held my finger to my mouth. "Shh," I said like I was really interested in the meeting. Souljah started talking. "Well, the purpose is for us as women, especially young women, to come together, learn from each other, and prepare for our future. If we plan well, we will be in control of our lives instead of being controlled for the rest of our lives. Hopefully, all of us can improve the way we think and the things we do as a result of how we think." Then Souljah gave out a book list. "This is a list of the books we will be reading for this class." I'd say that's when she lost me and about half of the girls in here. When we looked at the list of 10 books to be read over a period of 1 year, we were like, "She's crazy." We didn't even have to say it to one another. It was a silent agreement. One of the girls couldn't take the silence, so she blurted out and said, "Well, it seems to me like the main issue is money. I came here to get with some other women like myself who want to get paid. We can give parties, do bus rides, all that shit. Once everybody gets a little bit of money in their pockets, then all of us will feel a little better." Then Souljah moved to shut her down, even though at least half of us could feel what that female was kicking. "Money is important, no doubt," Souljah said, "but there is some business we need to take care of before money comes into the equation." "Like what?" the girl with the ideas asked. "Like, how are we gonna have a business together when we don't even like each other? How are we gonna trust each other when we don't even know each other? Think about it. When you first came into this room and looked at the other females in this room, what kinds of things were you thinking? I'm willing to bet the majority of females here had a bunch of negative thoughts about the other females in this room." Everybody let go a nervous chuckle, but the big girl with the ideas was not convinced. She said, "Business is not personal. I could go on a bus ride with 50 people. I don't care if I like them or not, if the price is right." Some girls nodded their approval. "Yeah, you can do that," Souljah said, "but it wouldn't mean anything. The reason why I open my place for these meetings is so we can do something meaningful, something dramatically different from what goes on in our community from day to day. Everybody thinks it's all about the Benjamins. But if every person in the ghetto received $1,000 cash in the mail tomorrow, what would happen?" Most people got excited at that thought. A bunch of side conversations about what people would do with their $1,000 jumped off. "Exactly," Souljah said. "In 1 week, 90% of our people will be broke. The money will be spent on overpriced jewelry, clothes, liquor, food, and crack." Everybody started laughing. "True, true," some of them said. "Now, if we could work on who we are, what we stand for, getting to know each other, and what we believe, then we can make better decisions. For example, if everybody in here received $1,000 each, and we believed in unity, We could have $50,000 to buy a piece of property or put a down payment on a house, or we could open up a business and all become shareholders. It would be hard work, but at the end of the day, it will mean so much more. People got quiet as they thought about it. She's slick, I thought to myself. I watched as she turned everything around the way she wanted it to be. The girls in the room got sucked into her hustle. Meanwhile, I'm thinking how all the girls in the room was basically broke. Most of them took the train to get here. Meanwhile, Souljah was chilling in his mansion with full access to the Benz. I was waiting for her to pass around the basket for everybody to make a donation to her personal treasury. Then she had us go around in a circle. Say your name and state what you believe.
My name is Sasha.
The first girl said.
And what do you mean by what do I believe?
Do you believe in something? Anything? Souljah asked, but the girl's face was blank. Are you, say, a Christian, Muslim, Jewish, 5%er? Do you believe in God, for example? Souljah asked.
Everybody believes in God,
the girl said. The next girl said her name was Kim. She's a Christian. Do you believe in premarital sex? Souljah quizzed her. The girl laughed.
Well, everybody has sex. Nothing wrong with that, is it?
I'm not here to judge, Souljah said. We're just listening to what you believe.
My name is Phoenix,
the next girl said.
I'm not trying to impress nobody, and I don't know what I believe.
What do you live for?
What do you mean?
What makes life for you worth living? The girl looked uncomfortable and she didn't answer. Okay, what is so important to you that you would risk your life for it? Fight for it? Die for it?
My daughter. I'll do anything for her. I'm a dancer. Sometimes people have a lot to say about that, but I don't care. I gotta feed my daughter.
What kind of dancer are you?
In the club.
What club?
The Silk Den. That's a strip club!
Another girl blurted out. Phoenix rolled her eyes at her.
Yeah? And what? You got something to say? I bring home $300 to $500 a night. How much you make?
The girl with the big mouth didn't say nothing. How old is your daughter? Souljah asked.
1.
Do you need $300 a night to feed your 1-year-old daughter?
Oh, snap!
The girl with the big mouth said. Phoenix didn't answer. I'm not trying to play you. I'm just asking that in introducing ourselves, we be as honest as possible. If you strip because you like to strip, or because you like to have a lot of money in your pocket, or because you have a habit, then say that. I'm not here to tell you what to believe in, but I am here to say that if you don't know what you believe in, everything else in your life will be confused. Knowing what you believe lays a foundation for your life. Then you can have principles and ideas that you follow, things that you are unwilling to compromise. If you're deciding what you believe every day and every day you believe something else, you have nothing to look forward to but chaos.
I want to look nice,
Phoenix said confidently after a short pause.
Nothing wrong with that, is there?
It depends on what you're willing to do to look nice. Are you willing to let strangers fill you up at a bar? Are you willing to do a lap dance in a string? Are you willing to suck a dick for a new dress?
I don't do all that.
A lot of women do. Then they think the new dress is going to make them feel better. It won't. A new dress might make you look better, but that's it. One by one, she knocked them down like bowling pins. She had an answer for everyone about everything. I could tell she sat and thought up these responses. She said she was doing it to help. Somehow, people couldn't figure out whether she was helping or just getting off on herself. After a while, it didn't matter. There was one girl left before my turn. Suddenly, I felt the need to pee. I tiptoed off down the corridor and stayed locked in the bathroom long enough to stick my head out the window to get some fresh air. By midweek, I had successfully explored the entire house. For a surgeon, the doctor was not so hard to figure out. Just showing a little interest got her to spill her guts. At night, after hours, she was easy to talk to. At the time when any other woman would be chilling with their man, she would be on either of the 4 floors that were exclusively hers with all the finest stuff in the world, but no mate. It wasn't long before I put it all together. 4 years in one college, 4 years in another college, 2 years working around the clock in the hospital with no pay, then back to college and certification for this and that. She was a medical doctor, a gynecologist, and a surgeon. By the time she looked up 12 to 15 years later, everybody was all paired off. All she got was a bunch of degrees. She could fix people's bodies and brains, but she couldn't repair her personal life. I wasn't gonna make that mistake.
Chapter 14.
Lauren busted down the bedroom door holding party laminates in her hand.
This is it,
She said, throwing herself on the bed.
GS's birthday party is tomorrow. Every badass in the entertainment industry is gonna be in the jam. What's wrong with you, Sasha? Maybe you didn't hear me. GS's birthday jam is tomorrow at the Palladium.
LX is giving him the party. That's like chocolate ice cream with chocolate syrup and nuts all over the place. My face was twisted because all I had left was $350. I would have to buy something special, but there was no doubt that I was going. Life is a crap game, or as Santiago would put it,
Life's a poker game.
So the next day, I laid my $300 on the counter at Saks Fifth Avenue. I walked out with a designer shopping bag with one Calvin Klein slip dress inside. I already had the banging shoes and a matching shoulder bag. My nerves were on edge. I kept telling myself, this is an investment. This is an investment. This is an investment. In less than 24 hours, I would emerge as the baddest bitch in the universe. Some trick in that party was gonna bankroll all my fantasies one way or another. Just to keep it real, I had my eyes set on the big catch, GS. I knew if I could hook him, my problems would be over. Life would be all Range Rovers, rugs, chips, cheddar, and pleasure. He was wasting his time with Souljah. She was no trophy. That's why he picked her up at night. He left her before the sun came up. You can't sport no bitch like her. I am the girl you go to bed with and wake up with. The one you bring the dough home to and leave it on the counter so I could take care of the house. I'm the girl who gets other niggas to envy you, want to be like you, want to kill you. Me? It's all about me, and real niggas know that. Real niggas love drama. Otherwise, life ain't no thrill. If there ain't no drama, what's the point? A live nigga needs a bitch who's so bad that other bitches know when they see her to just lay the fuck down. Now, the other chick might have got some dick from the nigga at some time or another, but in the presence of wifey, she knew all she can do is shut the fuck up and be mad. With only enough money in my bag to buy one last dinner, I stepped into the Benz with Souljah, Lauren, and Doc. I couldn't understand why Doc was coming to the party. Her time had already come and passed, but I wasn't sweating the small stuff, especially because Doc was the driver and she was pushing my kind of whip. The thick of things is putting it mildly. When we rolled up, there were scores of people outside the club, everybody dressed to kill. The November breeze was chilling thighs and giving gobs of goose pimples to girls with no nylons. With cars parked in all directions, traffic was jammed, luxury vehicles were everywhere, and only the music was pumping louder and faster than my heart. Doc swung into the $30 parking garage others were avoiding, based, I guess, on the price alone. It was not even a second thought to her. Those platinum and gold cards erased her worry over that. When we walked up, Souljah signaled security and they parted the crowd in seconds. As we walked up the slim aisle to the special entrance, all eyes were on us. "That's Sister Souljah," they whispered. I felt like a movie star as our tight little foursome entered the building with no problem, leaving the little wannabes hanging on the outside only to imagine what was going on inside. Inside, players were seated in booths sipping Moet, Cristal, and Alizé. Some were talking to each other. Some were kicking it with females. One big buff bouncer type invited himself to our table.
"You ladies want drinks? The bar is open till 10 p.m. After that, it's gonna cost you."
Why is everybody outside? Let 'em in. Let's get this party started,
Lauren said.
"The bar is free until 10. We'll let them in after 10. Get it?"
He smiled at Lauren like he was interested in her. We all went and got drinks and left Souljah in the booth. By 10:30, the party was shoulder to shoulder. The music was loud. More than that, the music was crisp. It was the difference between a car radio, a house radio, a stereo system, and a club. The club system took it up 10 notches. It was like the music had hands that ripped off your clothes and made you naked and crazy on the dance floor. With only the liquor to slow me down, my whole body was hypersensitive and completely sexual. When someone accidentally rubbed up against me, the sensation was magnified. Wet lips looked even more enticing, and the more the scene sucked me in, the more I liked it. Me and Lawrence stuck together. We were looking for the celebrities. We weren't sure where they were, but we knew they were here.
Souljah and Doc disappeared,
Lawrence said to me at 11.
So,
I said.
Let's go have some fun. You don't get it,
Lawrence said as she tried to shout over the music that nobody's voice could compete with. I turned my head so she could speak directly into my ear.
If Souljah's gone and we can't find any celebrities, that means all of them are somewhere in a separate section, the VIP room. Well, come on then, let's go to the VIP room.
The place was huge. We had to move slowly through the growing crowd to each side and corner of the club to find out where the celebrity section was. When we finally found it, Lauren whipped out her VIP laminates and flashed them at the security guards that had the secret entrance sealed off. Facing us was the same big security guard from earlier. He stopped us.
"Wait a minute, shorty. You can't do nothing with those,"
he said to Lauren, flashing his smile.
VIP,
she said, like he didn't see them the first time.
"Check this out. You got the wrong color laminates. They was orange, but they switched them to blue."
He flashed his blue laminate.
"Now to get inside, you need a blue laminate."
Lauren leaned on him a little, brushed his chest with her titties, and asked,
"How can I need a blue laminate when you have one?"
He flirted with her and laughed and all that, but still didn't let her in. She was talking so much she must have been telling him her life story. After a while, I wasn't even listening no more. He was getting off on joking with her, didn't believe or didn't care that she was Souljah's sister, and definitely didn't believe she knew GS personally like she said she did. Seconds later, the celeb door opened and 4 guys came out. My eyes were searching their faces to see if they were anybody. If they was leaving, at least they could give up their laminates and let us use them. As one particular face drew closer, my mouth dropped open. Recognizing him shook me up a little.
"Winter?"
he said with mad passion.
"Bullet?"
I said, more like it was a question. He grabbed my 2 hands, pushed me back a step, and said,
"Damn, you look like $1 million."
"Ain't nothing changed, nigga,"
I said, noticing how sexy he still was, but giving him much attitude. With his mouth open, playing with the toothpick between his teeth, it was like he was talking but no words were coming out.
"Damn,"
he said again. He pulled me close to him and picked me up with his strong arms like I didn't weigh nothing.
"Put me down, I ain't forget, nigga."
"Forget what? I ain't forget either. I've been looking all over for you forever. Man, I asked Natalie, your girl Simone, Natasha, Reese. I even asked your moms where you was."
"I ain't forget about the videotape. I heard how you let niggas disrespect me down in Mo's place,"
I told him with thick attitude. "Aw, that shit wasn't nothing. That was Slick illin', not me. You know that kid is sick, right? I don't get down like that."
"I see you still got your shine,"
he said, looking at my diamond tennis necklace and matching bracelet. Watching him surveying my whole body with his eyes, my body temperature intensified. What I dug about Bullet was he was a real lover. He knows how to rock a woman's entire body. He's a guaranteed orgasm.
"Come on, why don't you take a ride with me?"
he asked. My eyes peeped his black baggy slacks, leather jacket, and heavyweight gold link. I wanted to say yes, but I kept thinking about what Midnight said about Bullet being down with Santiago's enemies. What I wanted was battling my loyalty to Santiago, but I know loyalty comes first, so I resisted. I still asked the important shit though.
"What you pushing?"
Then the nigga started fidgeting, mumbling something which amounted to the fact that he was a passenger in another nigga's car. That made it easy for me to tell him no.
"Come on, Winder. You sleeping on this nigga,"
he said, parting his chest with his heavy hand.
"A nigga been stacking chips. I'm about to cop something lovely. I got a little business on the side making moves. I'm about to come into something real big soon."
I turned him down, not with words, but with my eyes. The bottom line was right now I had a chance at getting with GS. Why should I fold my hand to pick up some unknown cards? He sensed my rejection and didn't want his boys to see me turning him down, but he was gonna go for it anyway.
Winter, straight up, this nigga got love for you.
Knowing how to be cool and not play him out, I leaned over, gave him a kiss on the cheek, and whispered in his ear,
"Maybe some other time. Not tonight."
He smiled with 100% confidence. It was this kind of certainty that made me want to undress.
Let me get those digits.
He pulled a pencil from behind his ear and flipped open the book of matches to write it down.
"No phone. I don't have no phone,"
I told him.
Come on, Winter. Don't try to play me.
"I don't. I haven't been running no calls, that's why. I just been staying to myself."
Where you staying at?
"You asking too many questions."
Well, how's a nigga gonna get up with you then?
"You give me your number," I told him.
Fuck that. Come here.
He signaled over to his man, one of the 3 rolling with him that night.
Give me your pager.
His man looked confused. "What?" he said, unwilling to give it up.
You heard what I said. Give me your pager.
He snatched the pager from the man's hand. His man protested. "I just got it today."
Here, take this.
He handed me the pager.
You're gonna see how serious a nigga is. Learn how to respect a man when he talks. I'll page you when I finish setting up. Seeing is believing, you'll see. My code is 000.
He hugged me again.
You're gonna be mines.
"What's the phone number for the pager?"
I asked.
You don't need it. I'm the only one calling that number,
he said strongly. It was hard passing up good dick. It was easy to pass up a broke passenger nigga. Tonight my aim was much higher. As Bullet walked away, I tapped his arm and asked for his laminate. He laughed and said,
Nah, why would I feed you to the sharks?
Lauren had it all worked out, or so she said. By this time, she knew Frankie, the security guard, personally. Frankie couldn't let her in, but he let her know that GS was having a private party out in his house in Alpine, New Jersey at 2 a.m. All we had to do is meet Frankie around the back of the club. The 4 black trucks in the back would be bringing the party to Jersey, and all the finest honeys get a free ride with security. 4 trucks, 60 chicks, and a caravan of niggas following behind in Benzes, Lexuses, Rovers, Rangers, Acuras, you name it. 20 girls left standing on the curb because security said they were either too fat or too ugly. What do you know about 5 chicks sitting in the seats and 4 chicks sitting in their laps in each row of the Suburban? Now, I was sitting on some girl because I definitely wasn't going to let her sit on me. I wasn't going to say a word because I already decided it was better just to watch. Besides, I wanted to check out the competition. The first thing I realized was me and Lauren were younger than most of these girls. A whole bunch of them was in college. I heard them talking about a football game, Grambling U versus somebody. Some of them was talking like they came from far away. They mentioned that they was up for the weekend or drove all the way from Washington, Baltimore, and Virginia. 4 of the girls in the back sitting on laps in position right near my ear were wildin'. Every song that came on was,
"Ah, that's my jam."
Then they would make a high-toned screeching voice.
"Ski-wee, ski-wee, ski-wee."
Every fucking time. It bugged me out when they started bouncing to the beat while sitting on the girls who I'm sure had to have black and blue knees and legs by then. We invaded this private first-class neighborhood like an infection. GS's mansion was accentuated by an array of colored lights which lit up like the Walt Disney Palace. The driveway was more like a parking lot at the Cineplex Theater. Manicured bushes and evergreen trees gave the place the air of seclusion. Inside there were more rooms than you cared to count. 3 floors with steps leading to the west wing and the north and south side of the house. Cristal, Moet, fine wines, cheeses, buffalo wings, pineapple, turkey, meatballs, shrimps, and crab cakes were plentiful finger foods available to all special guests. It wasn't but half an hour before everybody started to ask, where's GX, where's LX, where's this celebrity or that celebrity? After a while, I started getting vexed with security because I wasn't sure if they just wanted to keep all the women for themselves. At 3 a.m., one of the security guys stood on top of the couch and shouted,
Okay, ladies, GS is ready for some pussy. Who wants to give up the pussy?
We all jumped up.
If you're not here to get your freak on, bounce now. Any virgins in the house, bounce now. Now y'all know there's too many of y'all. GS told me to bring up the baddest female in the house.
All the girls were screaming, raising hands, trying to get security's attention.
Hold on now, hold on. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna have a contest. Get up, line up. If you too drunk to stand up, sit down. You out. You're not in it. We're gonna have a beauty contest.
In the huge living room, there were 10 rows of 6 girls, each in the contest.
I'm the host,
one of the other security guys said. He was supposed to be big and intimidating. As far as I was concerned, he was just big and fat. He walked through each row of girls with his tall, fat, sloppy self carrying a vodka tonic in his right hand. Then he started pointing.
You ugly, sit down. You ugly, sit down. You ugly, sit down.
The 3 girls were mad, mumbling all kinds of insults to him. One of them said it loud enough for everybody to hear.
You big fat bitch!
She called him. The second girl said,
I thought you left all the ugly girls at the club.
Fat ass sipped on his drink and said,
It was dark. I missed you 3. Now sit down and shut up. All right now, hold out your hands.
Each row of girls stuck their hands out.
Man hands, sit down. God damn, what's your mother do? Bring you with cigarettes? Sit the fuck down.
He was eliminating contestants. Next, the other security guard stood up. He walked up and down the aisle like he was a military drill sergeant. For seconds, he didn't say nothing. Then he started pointing.
Cheap shoes, sit down. Cheap shoes, sit down. Cheap shoes, sit down.
I looked behind me, and one of the girls he told to sit down was Lauren. She caught my eye. I just raised my eyebrows at her as if to say, I'm sorry. I knew them cheap shoes would be her downfall. Next thing I know, the same dude was asking us to take our shoes off. A lot of girls didn't like that, and they were complaining and sucking their teeth. I wasn't affected. I had pretty feet. I even did my pedicure over, especially for tonight. Dudes started pointing out girls.
Hammer time, sit down. Bunyan, sit down. Corny, sit down. God damn it, sit down.
There was only like 40 girls left.
All right, ladies, this is a big one. Everyone with a weave, sit your bald asses down.
25 girls were out on that one call. My shit was straight and real. With 15 girls left, I was planning on winning. Then the next security guy got up and said,
Pull up your shirts. I'm checking for them nasty worms.
Everybody was confused. We just stood there, asking him and each other,
What? What worms?
Stretch marks. A lot of you slick bitches got nice figures and ugly-ass stretch marks. You know you got 4 kids. Your ass shouldn't even be here. GS do not want to be your baby's daddy.
All the guards started laughing. 5 girls with worms were eliminated. The security guard called over to the DJ.
Throw on some Biggie Smalls. Let me see you hoes dance. You gotta have rhythm. If you can't dance, you probably can't fuck. Sit down, you offbeat. Sit down, you're whack. Sit down, your butt fell off.
7 girls left. Everybody was like,
Alright, okay, alright already, just pick one.
Okay. One of y'all step up. The other 6 sit down.
Everybody stepped up.
Okay. Now we're going to see who got some sense upstairs in the head. If you give the wrong answer to the television trivia question, sit down. Contestant number 1. Who shot J.J. Evans?
Who?
J.J. Evans in Good Times.
I don't know.
Sit down. It was Mad Dog. Contestant number 2. What was Janet Jackson's name on Good Times?
I know it was Penny.
The contestant answered.
You're right. Contestant number 3. What was Alice's, the maid in the Brady Bunch boyfriend's name? And what job did he do?
Oh, I don't know.
The security guards was laughing so hard they was bent over. The one who fell on the floor yelled,
You're out! It's Sam, the butcher! Contestant number 4. What was Fred Sanford's favorite drink?
Come on, that one's too hard. Hers was easy,
she said, pointing to number 2. Sit down!
Fred drank Ripple. Contestant number 5. What was Samantha Stevens' mother's name on Bewitched?
Sabrina?
No, it was Andorra.
How was I supposed to know? I didn't watch that shit. I don't have cable.
Sit down. Contestant number 6.
That was me.
What was the name of the dog on the Jetsons, the dog on the Flintstones, and the dog on the Brady Bunch?
Astro, Dino, and Tiger,
I said swiftly.
Oh shit! That's right! That's right!
Security laughed. The buffed one was like,
Yo, that bitch is smart!
Contestant number 7 was disqualified because she didn't know who beat Rerun in the dance contest on What's Happening. But I saw that episode at least 10 times. It was Danny Disco Dynamite.
Now we're down to 2 contestants. Who's it gonna be? Let me see.
Then one of the security guards jumped up and said,
What size is your bra?
The girl said 36D. I said 34D.
Pretty close,
He said,
but who has on clean panties with no holes and no loose strings? Open your legs!
He got down on all fours and looked under her skirt. Then he crawled over and looked under my dress. When he saw my nicely trimmed, bare, hairy pussy, he said,
That's it! You're the winner!
All I could think was,
thank God I didn't wear no panties.
it seemed like we would never make it up to the top of the wide, steep, and curvaceous staircase. Every step closer I got to the bedroom on the west wing of the mansion, the more excited I became. I wish I could have a Polaroid snapshot of the look on GS's face when I walked into the room. As we got closer to the door, the fat security guard who escorted me said,
Me and you could dip into one of these rooms right now. If it's me you really want, just give me the word.
I wouldn't even respond to him. A few steps before the entrance to GS's bedroom, the fat guy turned around and walked away. I could hear the music in the room pumping real loud. Standing outside of the door, I checked my clothes and touched my hair with my fingers. I turned the knob to let myself in. Surprisingly, the room was dark. The only light was coming from the television where the image from the PlayStation Street Fighter game was stuck on pause. I ran my hands along the wall, trying to guide myself to the light switch. Accidentally, I tripped over what I guess was a Timberland boot tossed to the floor. Now, I was glad the lights were off. I didn't want GS to see me in an uncool position. When I stood up, I walked a couple of steps before feeling the night table with my fingers. As my hands were extended in front of me to keep from crashing into anything else, I almost toppled over a Cristal bottle. I knew that's what it was from the shape of it as I held it in my hands. It was empty. Oh shit. I knew GS was wasted. Probably crashed out on the bed. It was either that or he's a sexy motherfucker who likes to play games in the dark. I could get with that. With a few more steps, I found my feet tangled in his pants that were tossed on the floor. Now I was getting real excited. Finally, I found the sound system, but I couldn't read the buttons, so I just started tuning and pushing them one by one. There was static, then shit just started going crazy for a minute. I pushed the buttons faster until, luckily, one shut the sound off. GS? I called out softly, not really knowing why I was whispering now that it was so absolutely quiet. I heard him groan a few times and moved into the direction his voice was coming from. Soon as I bumped into the bed, I started undressing.
Who's that?
He asked, sounding disoriented.
It's me, Sasha. I came to give you what we've both been waiting for.
He laughed slow and sexy. But naked, I slid my silky legs in, then the rest of my body. Taking total control, I threw my legs over him, then mounted him like I was the jockey and he was the thoroughbred. I was determined I was going to revive the $1 million star. I was going to make love to him so he would remember my name and come back sniffing round my door tomorrow. Laying my titties on his chest and my hairs against his now erect, big, thick, thank God dick, I began to suck his neck, lick his shoulder blades, and suck his chin. Only seconds passed before his lips came alive and gave way to my sweet passion. We was tonguing. His strong arms grabbed my hips and lifted me up slightly, positioning to penetrate. I pulled myself to the side, resisting him so I could suck it first to keep it hard longer. As it went into my mouth and halfway down my throat, I moved my lips slowly back and forth. GS let out a groan that let me know I had him in the palm of my hand. Tonight it would be all about him. Once I turned him out, it would be all about me. When I felt the pressure mount in him, I withdrew my tongue and lips. He grabbed my head, wanting me to keep going. Instead, I mounted him then, pushed him inside of me. I put everything I had on him, double-jointed hips, and my flexible body moves. He would never call me a lazy lover. As my pussy muscles held him in a lobster grip, I vibrated all over him. I heard him scream in ecstasy like he was my bitch. The sound of his surrender caused me to lose my head, and my orgasm caused my whole body to shake uncontrollably. He responded by busting a nut, a big fucking walnut inside of me. We both collapsed into sleep. I don't know about him, but I went out with a smile. In the morning, I tidied up after our house guests. I was dressed in GS's shirt. Downstairs, I tried to bring together some breakfast for us. I had music playing at a low volume. The sun was filling up the entire house the way it does in classy neighborhoods where architects design houses with the position of the sun, moon, and water in mind. As I walked up the long, wide staircase, I felt a pain in my side. "Excuse me, sweetie? Hey, you got to get up and get out of here. I don't know what you're doing in here, but don't respond. I'm afraid of the answer." Everything was a blur. I attempted to focus. My head was pulsating the way it does after a night of a wild mixture of drinks. The harmless-looking 30-something woman was poking me in the side with a long black antenna on which I assumed was a walkie-talkie. When I sat up, my eyes confirmed the images that were jetting through my mind. I was in GS's mansion. It was not a dream. The untidy room of last night was now spotless, except for my naked body. Like a zoom lens, my eyes scanned the floor for my clothes, which I recall dropping on the floor on my side of the bed. I spotted them laid neatly across a chair. I grabbed my neck with my hands. My diamond necklace and my bracelet were still on, so I could rule out robbery from this bizarre situation. The woman watched me as if I was acting in a scene she was directing. Clutching my bag, I asked her,
"Where's GS?"
"He's not doing a set until 2 this afternoon. It's 9 a.m. right now, but you will have to go."
"Think about it, lady. If I'm here in his room, I must be a welcome guest in GS's home."
"Oh, really? I'm sure he wouldn't mind if his girl waited downstairs for him."
"This house is big enough for everybody."
"Listen, sweetie, I'm sure you're GS's girl. However, this is not GS's house. Now, we have it rented for a video shoot until 12 midnight. I've got to get every shot finished by then. So, I'll have to ask you to leave in the interests of GS's money. Overtime is an ass kicker in this neighborhood." She tossed my clothes at me. I flung the door open, turned left, then right to figure which direction to head in. As I moved down the marble staircase, I suddenly noted how beautiful yet empty the house seemed. I was mad at the sarcastic woman upstairs, but I wasn't worried. I was certain that what I put on GS last night would stick. I wouldn't have to go looking for him. He would come looking for me. When I exited from the multi-$1,000 crafted doors, it reminded me of my old house on Long Island. Just acres of perfect landscape and trimmed trees. Finding the bus stop would be like looking for a lost contact lens. Once I walked past the evergreens, I saw the black trucks that we all rode over here in. The huge security guys who were the phantom comedians of last night were now looking very sober and serious about guarding this house. As soon as one of them spotted me, he called out,
"Where you headed, lovely?"
Slowly walking toward him, I weighed my options.
"I'm trying to get back to the city."
"You could ride with me if you could wait till 11. That's when I get off."
"Were you here last night?"
I asked him.
"I don't remember your face."
"Why would you?"
he said casually. We putt-putted in his Datsun. The deteriorating jalopy was so slow, it added 40 minutes onto what should have been a quick trip. Maybe it was because his speedometer wouldn't break 45 miles per hour. As I crawled out of his car, I asked,
"So, were the black trucks rented just like that house?"
"Yup, just for the video shoot,"
he said nonchalantly.
"Listen, I'll see you around.
while looking like he wondered if he had a chance with me. I muttered back,
"No, you won't get to see me,"
and I slammed the door. Souljah was aggravated when I got upstairs in the house. As she munched on some barbecue chips, more out of habit than hunger, she asked,
"Have you seen Lauren?" "Not since last night,"
I responded, walking straight back to my bedroom. She knew better than to try to get in my business. As I relaxed on the comfortable bed, I thought about everything. My only regret was not getting the photograph, autograph, or a piece of GS's belongings. No one would ever believe me if I told them me and him got down together, but I soothed myself with the idea that there was still time. As the minutes slipped away, 60 seconds at a time, I waited patiently for Lauren. Hell, she was there last night. She was a witness. Me and her would have one up on Souljah. While she strutted around all proud, Lauren and I would know that she didn't really have it all as tight as she thought she did. After all, she let me slide that ace right out of her hand. Stuffing envelopes and answering phones was not my line of work, but Lauren didn't come home in 2 days. She didn't even call. Souljah was more worried than anything. Somewhere along the line, I guess, she decided to substitute me for her sister, 'cause here I was doing all the goddamn work. I wanted Lauren to come back just as much as she did. It was as if I was left alone in the apartment with a set of gigantic eyes watching me. Souljah had a way of looking at people that I didn't like. She was very slick about using every minute that she's around a person to ask certain questions, which led her to knowing more than she needed to know or more than the person wanted to give up. "I never heard you mention your father. Is he alive?" she would ask in an innocent voice, as if she didn't know that it's disrespectful to ask niggas about they daddy.
"Yeah, he's alive,"
I answered with the mind your fucking business tone. Each time the phone rang, I was hoping that it was midnight. Above everything else, I always pictured him as the man who would rescue me. I wondered what kind of game Souljah was playing, or if she really knew him at all. If she knew him well, why didn't she have his phone number or address? A lot of people don't have phones, but everybody's got an address. While filling in for Lauren, I got to watch Souljah more closely. She would ask me to fill some papers away in the file cabinets in her bedroom. She had everything neatly arranged in alphabetical order. I checked under my name just to be sure she wasn't pulling up no file on me. I even checked under M for midnight to see if she was holding out information I needed to have in my hands. No luck. No file on me or him.
"So how did you meet my cousin?"
I asked her. I was learning how to hit her with the questions before she could start hitting me. She stopped writing in her notebook, dropped her pen on the paper, and leaned back in the chair. She looked like she was recalling images in her mind. The loud doorbell broke her mood and deadened my question. Without her even asking me to get the door, I zipped down the stairs. Lauren was standing there with a big smile on her face. "Why didn't you use your key?" I asked.
"I wanted you to come down so you could tell me what's going on up there before I step in the fire and get burnt. Your sister's mad, but she's more worried. If you just limp in, act like you hurt, or like somebody mugged you or something, things will turn out better."
We laughed.
"But get your ass upstairs. I'm tired of doing your work." "Ooh, girl, what happened with GS? I want to know everything."
Lauren was excited.
"Shh! I'll tell you when we get to the room. Stay cool. Your sister's right in the living room,"
I warned her. 1 second after giggling with me, Lauren was standing in the middle of the living room with tears spilling down her face, looking sorrowful. I only heard the beginning of her story. The voice that came out of her mouth wasn't a usual voice. She was talking like she was 7 years old instead of 17.
"I was mad at you, Souljah. What happened? You disappeared at the club. I tried to use the passes you gave me. They wouldn't even let me in the VIP room. I didn't get to cash the check you gave me, so I was broke. I didn't even have no money for a ride, so I called Fever."
Blah, 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 and Lauren had reversed it on her sister. Now Souljah was standing there, explaining where she went that night and what happened with the passes. I checked it all out. When Souljah noticed me watching the two of them like a tennis match, she took Lauren into her bedroom, and the voices faded behind the closed door.
We have reached the end of this portion of the miniseries on Ralph Reads. I would like, or rather love, to thank you, queens and kings, fellow royalty, for stopping by. You may connect with me via Facebook. Send a friend request while you still can to Ralph Anthony Garcia, and on Twitter and Instagram at RGMC2407. Send an email to rgmc2407@gmail.com, where if you would like to leave a small donation, please use the Zelle app or paypal.me/RGMC2407 or Cash App. My cash tag is RGMC2407. You may also connect with me on my other channel, the music channel, RGMC, Ralph Garcia, Master of Ceremonies, and right here on TURN, the United Ronin Networks. We are Ronin. Fellow royalty, pick up a good book, read a good story, and set your good self free. I appreciate you, and I love you like cooked food. I will see you folks on the next volume of this Sister Souljah miniseries on Ralph Reads. The time is now. Realize before it's too late. You don't have a little bit of love? Don't be surprised at the hate.